Hello, psychology scholars. Welcome to our last lecture video for Chapter 2, Psychological Research. In this video, we will discuss ethics in research. When psychologists conduct research, they must fully consider the ethical issues involved. Are they asking the participants to do something unreasonable? Are the participants risking physical or emotional harm from the study? To ensure the participants' well-being, all colleges, universities, and research institutions have strict guidelines in place regarding research. All researchers must follow these guidelines. The guardians of the ethical guidelines at schools and other institutions where research is conducted are institutional review boards, or IRBs. As was mentioned in Chapter 2, Lecture Video number 2, these boards consist of administrators, legal advisors, trained scholars, and members of the community. The members review all proposed research to ensure that it meets scientific standards. For research to be ethical, 5 main issues must be addressed. 1. Privacy. Researchers must respect participants' privacy. For example, it is ethical to observe people without their knowledge in public, such as at the mall. It is not ethical to observe private behaviors without people's knowledge. 2. Confidentiality. Participants' information must be kept secret. It can be made available only to a few people who need to know it. This confidentiality prevents other people from linking the study's findings to the actual participants. 3. Informed consent means that people must be told about the research and they can choose to participate or not. Usually the participant gives consent in writing before the study begins. During this process, participants are also informed that their participation is voluntary and that they may withdraw from the study at any time. Number 4, deception. Sometimes knowing a study's specific goals could change the participants' behavior. That change could make the results meaningless. In these cases, the researchers may use deception to mislead participants about the study. If deception is used, once the study is completed, the researchers must inform the participants of the study's goals and explain why deception was necessary. This is what we call a debriefing. Most researchers, however, debrief their participants even when no deception was used. And number 5, risks. Researchers cannot ask participants to endure unreasonable pain or discomfort. However, potential gains from research sometimes require asking participants to expose themselves to some risk to obtain important findings. The risk-benefit ratio is an analysis of whether the research is important enough to be worth placing participants at some risk. Psychology's other major ethics controversy is the use of animals in research. Psychologists use animals as research subjects for several reasons. Sometimes they simply want to know more about the behavior of a specific type of animal. In other instances, they want to identify general laws of behavior that apply to both humans and animals. Finally, in some cases, psychologists use animals because they can expose them to treatments that clearly would be unacceptable with human participants. It's this last reason for using animals that has generated most of the controversy. Some people maintain that it is wrong to subject animals to harm or pain for research purposes. They argue that animals are entitled to the same rights as humans. They state that researchers violate these rights by subjecting animals to unnecessary cruelty in many trivial studies. They also argue that most animal studies are a waste of time because the results may not even apply to humans. Some activists have broken into labs, destroyed researchers' equipment and research records, and stolen experimental animals. Only about 7 to 8% of all psychological research involve animals, and mostly rodents and birds. Relatively few of these studies require subjecting the animals to painful or harmful manipulations. Psychologists who defend animal research point to the major advances due to psychological research on animals, which many people are unaware of. Among them are advances in the treatment of mental disorders, neuromuscular disorders, strokes, brain injuries, visual defects, headaches, memory defects, high blood pressure, and problems with pain. Psychologists are increasingly sensitive to questions about animal research. Although they continue to use animals in research, strict guidelines have been imposed that control nearly every detail of how laboratory animals must be treated. This concludes our discussion for Chapter 2. Don't forget to complete the assignments for Chapters 1 and 2, due on Friday. Practice quizzes 1 and 2 will prepare you for the proctored exam next Sunday, or due next Sunday. Let me know if you have any questions about the material or the assignments.